it was fun. It was watching it go, constructing it and getting it up there and everything, and it was going up quite a ways. It was 130 feet, you know, and to get that up there, and it was something, a lot of fun to watch it. And then after they got it all made up and across the street from there was the elevator, where they used to have a lot of grain and bring it caught in there, and that was a pretty high building. So they would check the water tower to see if they could shoot the water over the top of that grain, or that grain tower, and they did though. Yeah. You could see that wherever it came from. If you come down from the north here, coming down the hill there by the All Saints Church now, and that tower stood right up like a big thumb, you know, and that was the main thing you could see.
Okay, the water tower was built in the mid-20s. It was just a 60,000 gallon tank, really small compared to what our tanks are today. Our next smallest tank that we have right now is actually 500,000 gallon tank, and that's in the Air Lake Industrial Park. Our biggest one right now is a 2 million gallon tank, and that's up in the Dakota Heights area. We're having a new one built. It's on Cedar Avenue and Dodd, and that'll be a 1.5 million gallon tank, just to give you an idea how small this tank actually was. The old water tower down in Howland and 208th Street was decommissioned in 1982. Some old facts about the water tower I learned from my predecessor, Dick Norling. He told me about actually grease being used on the inside of the water tower instead of, our towers now are all painted on the inside, but in them days, to protect the steel on the inside, it was just grease was used. They actually went inside and rubbed grease on the metal by hand about every 8 to 10 years just to save the metal inside the tank. Some other uses for the water tower at the time too, in the building underneath the water tower, they actually had in the basement a bath where it was open to the public. People would come in, take a bath, and they were actually paid the city. The city collected funds for taking a bath down in the basement of the well house located right underneath the water tower. Another use for the building underneath the water tower is the grain company, the grain elevator, which is right next door. It was just right across 208th Street. They shared the office with the utility department of the city. Part of it was used by them, and of course part of the building too was actually the pump house where the well sat. So the water tower was decommissioned in 1982. That time the city had decided, being that rehab was due, maybe some painting and so forth that was due at the water tower at that time, they decided it was best off, because it was so small, 60,000 gallons, that it just outlived its usefulness. So it was decided that the best thing to do would be to tear it down. Some of the metal was used for scrap, of course, and at the time we had planned on using some of the long legs, using them for actually for bridges, possibly in maybe some of the park departments to utilize some of the old metal there. I'm not sure if that was ever done. I remember the legs laying around for quite a long time, and I think maybe they've been scrapped out since. So.
We documented the dismantlement of the downtown Lakeville water tower. John Isle described how he took the water tower apart piece by piece.
You had to start a company that you could start at the top when you first started. This company, you got to start at the top. What you do is you get your torches, oxygen and LP, get your safety equipment on, head to the top, and the first thing you do is crawl way to the top and cut the ball off it. Start on the roof, whittle the roof away, and cave the ball. Is a big cast iron ball. It's about 1 inch thick, weighs a couple 100 pounds. So you don't want to be wrestling with it. So you cut the roof away around it, cave the ball in, just let her drop inside the tank, and then keep working, just whittling away, just bite-sized pieces, whatever you feel you can carry, just cut them off that big. If you cut them too big, you're going to regret it later. So just keep caving the roof in. When you get down to the edge of it, you have to walk on these bars. It's like a big wagon wheel on the top there, the spokes going out, that keeps the top of the tank round. So the little 1/2-inch rods going into the center, so you can keep your safety line on, but you can kind of tippy-toe around up there on them bars and cut the roof pieces in. When you get to the edge, you've got like a portable scaffolding that goes around. So you end up standing on the outside, cutting the steel loose and pushing it inward. What's left up there then is a bowl. There's no sides in the tank. Got a whole bowl full of plates. To get those out, you crawl into the bowl, cut a hole in the bottom of it, and then start picking these pieces up and dropping them down. Let gravity do the rest. To get the legs down, it's pretty much like cutting trees. You can steer them a little bit. You got a big center pipe concrete in the middle like we have here. You want to try and avoid that concrete. If you end up dropping a couple 1,000-pound chunk iron on it from that height, you can get a lot of debris flying. So you can steer somewhat these beams out of the way so when they come crashing in, they don't bash into the concrete.
It is not easy.
Yeah,
This is his 16th tank, I think.
Yeah, it's like about number 15 or 16. So you get little procedures. The first one I did was my brother and I did it. It took us a month and a half. The fastest one I ever did was about 2 weeks. This will be pretty close to that. Got pretty good weather when I'm working on it. I've given up trying to work on the rainy days. And it's going pretty smooth now. It's been my 4th year now, and it's like this job now is going very easy. It's no real surprises to it. But you learn, sometimes I've learned the hard way in terms of how to get things down. You got to know what you're doing.